There's big news coming from the Supreme Court today, announcing this morning it will take up a major Second Amendment case. The first time in more than a decade the High Court will rule on the right to bear arms. At a time when the country is very clearly struggling and grappling with an epidemic of gun violence from coast to coast, this could be huge.
On Monday, the Supreme Court agreed to take up what could become the biggest gun rights case in decades. And given how the court leans, you have every right to be scared. Welcome into TYT Overruled. I'm Adrienne Lawrence. The Supreme Court has agreed to decide the issue of whether the Second Amendment guarantees you a right to carry your gun in public for self-defense without a concealed carry permit. The case is styled New York State Rifle versus Corlett. And here's the background.
In 2008, the Supreme Court said for the very first time that the Second Amendment does provide an individual right to own a gun. Up until then, that was an open question. But what the court said is the right is to own a gun at home for self-defense. So what about guns outside the home? And that's what the court has consistently ducked. Now, though, it has agreed to take that issue up. It comes from New York State.
In New York, you've needed to have a license to carry a handgun in public since 1913. To carry it without restrictions and have a license, you got to show that there's some kind of special reason, need for protection, like having a stalker. So seeking to start a fight, two men in New York applied for a license without good reason, and they got rejected. So that gave them grounds to sue, and they sued all the way to SCOTUS. Now, with the NRA backing them up, they're now asking the court to decide whether the Second Amendment embodies the right to carry a handgun in public without having a permit or any kind of license. With a court stacked full of 6 conservative Republican cronies, there's a good chance that SCOTUS could agree with these 2 New Yorkers. Although SCOTUS has narrowed the question a little bit to this particular case, that is, whether the state's denial of petitioners' application for concealed carry licenses for self-defense violated the Second Amendment. The court still could use this case to overturn decades of precedent. It also could punch huge holes in the case law so that the lower courts could now dismantle gun laws. This is really pretty terrifying. Last year, the U.S. saw a historic rise in gun sales. And just last month, things skyrocketed. The FBI did 1 million more background checks in March 2021 than it did in March 2020 before COVID really shut things down. So why has there been a huge spike? Well, because there have been so many mass shootings. What can we say? They drive sales. The NRA has blood on its hands, politicians money in their pockets, and SCOTUS may be the last line of defense. But I will tell you, this is just another reason that the 9 need to become the 13. We have to expand the Supreme Court.